this guy was amazing. He's actually one of the best investments in our firm. He was building Yelp for property managers. So basically, like, you know, you go on Yelp and you're like, good restaurant for groups or whatever.
Yeah.
He was doing it for companies that clean your windows and come and do commercial cleaning and whatever. And the reason he did it is because these commercial contractors, they would do a shit job. They don't care because they got paid $1 million to clean your 80-story building in Toronto, right? And so when he started the business, he didn't have a product at all. It was Google Forms.
Yeah.
It was Google Forms, and he made his first 100K ARR, repeatable revenue, through Google Forms. And when he showed everybody how successful he was with the Google Form, he's like, imagine when I build it.
So let me guess, this is like 10, 15 years ago?
Oh, like 5.
5 years
well,
ago?
4 when I started.
4? Okay, so the reason why I asked that is because like I've seen like the screenshots of where Airbnb started. Their site was trash, but that was like, okay, 08, 09-ish, or maybe 2010-ish. And then there's like other examples where like, start at a very small scale with whatever you have, and then go from there. But I think people's expectations have grown over the years. So like they're not gonna look for a site or trust a site that looks like it was made in like 1999. You know what I mean?
Well, why do you need trust?
Huh?
Why do you need trust?
Why do I need trust?
Right now.
Right now.
Like in this moment. Why do you need trust from us?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. If it's an answer could be women aren't going to go on there because women want safety, right?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, what can we do to give them that safety without giving them like a beautiful product?
Yeah.
Plus, all these people that you talk to, like what would be cool is if you show them a janky platform and say, look, here, video. Like instead of, look, you're swiping, but it turns into a video.
Yeah.
Just show them that and see. And what if they say like, not it? Then you're gonna like evolve faster than building the entire product off the beginning.
Gotcha.
It'll take some creative thinking, and you might decide that it's not the right thing for you to do.
Yeah.
But I would push you to think creatively of like, how can I get my product in the hands of people as fast as possible to get feedback?
Understood. Yeah.
On top of that,
More perfectionist.
oh yeah, that's gonna be
so I
the demise
understand,
of you. Totally.
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You know how many startups have failed?
I'd like to add one thing about the website design because when I first started and got my cardholders out, I advertised on Google and Microsoft, and the actual click rate of people on my ads was a lot higher than what I expected. I was doing pretty solidly. Like I got about up to 8%, between 7 and 8% on average, and according to like random sites from other advertisers. No, not the conversion, the actual click rate to the advertisement. Some people like would say like 4 to 5% I was doing. So I was doing good with the ad, but my actual website is where people clicked off, and I looked at the analytics, and about 85% of people, the first thing they did is they looked at my homepage, and then most of them actually clicked off because what I thought I could do was just make a product page, call it a day, and that will work. But if you, my point is that like you have to do a homepage, and then you also have to make the About Us page too, because people are going to look at that. Customers are probably just trying to see if you look like a trustworthy company or not.
Right, because that has a lot to deal with like your SEO and like making sure that you have all the right keywords, because if people are just randomly searching, you're not going to appear at the top unless you have those like correct words that Google specifically is looking for. And there's been like so many people that talk about like the algorithm of like how Google does it or how Meta does it, but definitely having those sections will help out your pages and help you appear at the top if they think that you're quote unquote trustworthy.
Yeah. I don't want to take up too much time.
But I'll add one
Yeah.
last thing is talk to 100 people. Like not surveys, not just here answer this one question 1 to 10. No, like go around and find as many single people as you can, and sit down and have 100 interviews, and then go back to building at least.
That is part of the plan as well. We just haven't committed to going out and talking to people just yet. That's one thing we totally failed at. But
go to these single events. Oh my God. I don't know why. I get that. I've been married like 6 years. I get these ads all the time. I'm like, they look fun too. I'm like, can I come, pretend we're single, and then meet each other there and be like, look, I met my partner.
Yeah, talk to the organizers of them and go to bars too.
So
Yeah.
just to add, first disclaimer, I'm an investor, but it's not a specialist. And maybe my experience comes from launching apps, right, for customers and games, mostly from a company. In the 2012, we have a game studio, and we launched a lot of games, right, in the markets that we're in at the moment. The thing is that we discovered that exactly this, right, that we have a lot of time just to develop a product, and the feedback, if you don't get feedback from the market, you don't know how successful it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
And one methodology that we created is we already created the UI, or kind of, it was not an app, it was not a game, right? It was not launchable. It was just a video or just an image. And we just create marketing campaigns, right? Comparing two ideas or two approaches, and we launch them, and we see which one it was more click and how many people subscribe to the beta than in the future is going to be. And from that we take a lot of good decisions, right? With more information from the market, for really the outputs that we're looking for. Because we say, oh wow, these people are at least interested in the concept, right? Like maybe I cannot show to them because it's a high cost to develop, right, the product, but at least the idea, oh wow, there's people that want this idea, right? That is lowers the risk to the investors. That's why the investor wants more like to have, okay, you have information from the market, and you can show, hey, I have 2,000 people, 5,000 people just subscribe, right, because they're waiting for this product to launch. That's value already, right? So.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, A/B testing across your marketing
A/B
campaigns.
testing.
That's-
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
We have a customer that they're kind of blowing up. They're smart kids from like a Texas university, and they were doing all their marketing through college campuses. And that would be a great spot to like test your app. They're going to be very honest with you too. They're probably looking for hookups or dating, so it might be a good spot.
Yeah, as like a kid that, for mine, I went to UNLV, but like we would have tons of things on like Handshake where it's like, become a college ambassador for this and that, and then they wouldn't be paid that much. It would be like a stipend of like, oh, here's your marketing budget, go out and spend $200 within like this month or week, depending on whatever your company is. But like a lot of people would give out like free products, whether it's like Red Bull or like things like that. Become a college ambassador, and then like it's something that they can put on their resume too. A lot of marketing students will go out and grab at it, because I was one of them.
That's a good idea.
But like for sure, like I know my friend that goes to UCLA, like during all their networking events, they would also have companies that would have college ambassadors promote their company. Same with UCI and a bunch of these big college campuses. It doesn't necessarily have to be B2B or B2C. Like you could do any product, honestly. Like people will there's people on campus that are yelling about politics and religion. Like anything can happen. You just have to find that like right space and make sure that like the student themselves know where they can advertise and where they can't. But a lot of people will test out random things. Like everyone's just walking by.
Yeah.
You'll get good feedback.
For my nonprofit, we host a bunch of events, and it's crazy. Like we get free volunteers, and the only thing is, if you're organizing the event, I'll talk to the bar or the restaurant and get them a free tab. And people will be like, "Oh, I get to come to this event and spend $100 on drinks and food." I'm like, "Yep, please, please do it."
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, anyone would do it for free food. I would have done it for free food.
Yeah.
Especially, for sure.
All right.
Free t-shirts, that's like a big thing too.
Oh yeah, half my closet is just UNLV
I'm
shirts,
not gonna
like
lie, I
random
love free
orders.
shirts to this
Yeah.
day. Whenever I get a free shirt, I'm like, yes.
I'm like, I don't even care if you have my size. Give me 3XL, I'll sleep in it.
Anybody else? Business? Fun conversation?
So I know you're against personally about pitching to get investors,
Oh.
right? So I in talks with a robotics lab company here. They just recently started a location here. I was thinking about how to potentially talk to them about creating a video pitch to send to investors as more of a streamlined way to open up a conversation, right? Because you want to put yourself in front of these investors to start out. You don't want to give them the whole spiel, right? You just wanna kinda
teaser.
give them a teaser, exactly. So how do you think I could potentially
So let me
starting out that conversation.
So you make videos and you want to go to this organization or even other organizations and say, I want to make videos for you that will help you raise money from investors. That's so smart.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So I'm big on marketing. A lot of people will tell you like, oh, don't worry about your deck, it can be ugly, don't worry about this. I'm like, no. People will say that, but when they look at a beautiful deck and a beautiful video, it will change their mind. Investors are not rational. Like they're voting, like we're humans, right? We love emotion. Like we want to feel something, we want a story, and blah, 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 especially in America. We all love stories. And so I think video is really, really good. There's actually, what is it called? I think it's a company called One Pager. What they do is they create a one page for startups, and the first, once you click on it, so they help people raise, right? So they came to us as VCs. They're like, hey, we'll give it to all of your portfolio for free so they can raise more money, and they host like demo days and stuff, and it's all video based, and it's so good. So if you want to check that page out, they actually have like a demo day every Wednesday, maybe more now. Check out some of those videos, the ones that are very successful. Oh, that doesn't look like it. Let me see. I'll send it to you.
Oh, Investor Day, VC,
One page.
yeah, fundraising exposure probably. This.
Onepager.vc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, okay.
If you go through it, it has all of the one pages.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are video based, so you can check that out. But okay, let me think. If I'm making a video, so I think you just have to understand like the main concepts of investing, right? So one is you have to know who your investor is. So a lot of times people will start a business and they're like, I'm looking for money. Anybody. And it's like, okay, well, not anybody's going to give you money, right? Like, because even if you're the absolute best business in the world, even if Facebook came to us today, we couldn't invest because that's not what we invest in. You know what I mean? Like, and we can't just invest in nothing. And a lot of investors learn that the hard way every time there's a freaking something exciting, like when blockchain first came out and everybody was investing in Web3 and crypto and blah, blah, blah. We didn't know what the fuck it was, and we were like, yeah, take my money. And then AI, and we didn't know what it was, and we were giving all these people money, and now we all lost out on all those investments, like, duh. But we keep doing it. We keep following the same fucking trap. We don't learn. We're emotional investors, guys. And so one is know your investor, right? So if you're a robotics lab, I'm not the right investor for that, right? I just do software. So who are the types of people that invest in robotics labs, right? I would start there. Check out your competition, see who invested in them. That's going to give you the best indication of what type of investors, right? Even if those people might not invest in you because they invested in your competition, it's great to see, okay, they call themselves this, or they live in these cities, or whatever. So that's step one, right? Know your investor. Once you know who they are, do research on them. So if you're a B2B SaaS, for example, you do research on our fund, right? We're a B2B SaaS fund. We're literally perfect for any B2B SaaS company. You would see the types of companies we invest in on our website. You would see who the partners are, see their backgrounds. You would see how much we invest. So that's another big thing is we get a lot of people, like, I told somebody I was a VC the other day and he was like so excited. And he was like, okay, we're raising like 25 million. And I'm like, okay, relax. I got $1 million max. And even then. And we give $1 million for a very particular type of company, right? We're not going to give $1 million to NVIDIA today. Well, they're not even our thing. But like, we're not going to invest $1 million in a company that's already worth $1 billion, right? It has to be a company at a certain stage. So like, what stage do you have to be at, right? So I think it's a lot of research that I don't know if it makes sense for you to do because it seems like something they have to do because they have to understand and they have to understand their investor profile. And then I would go with the basics, right? So like, depending on what stage you're at, it can be easy or hard to figure out. If you're late stage, like if you already have revenue, it's numbers, right? Hey, we have $1 million annual recurring revenue. We're growing by 30% year over year. Well, that's bad for VC. We're growing 150% year over year. We have zero churn. All our clients stay every year, yes. And we, our cost of customer acquisition is dirt cheap. Holy shit. If you show me those 4 things, fuck it, how much money you want? But if you're earlier and you don't have any money, you have to figure out what can share a good story. And even though you guys aren't sure you're going to raise, one of the things that I always say is I want to see how many people you interviewed. So even though I do enterprise sales, people are like, oh, how many interviews do you want to see? 2? I'm like, hell no. If you interview 2 people, you're building a product for 2 people. That's stupid, right? I want to see that you spoke for enterprise. If you're selling to like Fortune 500s, I want to see that you talked to at least 20 people one-on-one, and they all said amazing things. And they want your product and you're building it for them, whatever. If you're mid-market, meaning you're selling to like smaller companies or whatever, I want to see you talk to at least 50 people, ideally 100. And if you're a consumer, 100 plus. Again, I'm not a consumer investor, so take that with me as well. Maybe they'll say 5,000, I don't know. Maybe they want to see surveys, because it's hard to do so many with consumers. And then you share that, right? So like for you guys, what would be a really nice story, and again, this is like, we could talk about this for hours, so I'll summarize. What would be a really nice story is, oh, Vegas doesn't have a robotics lab, and we talked to 200 people, and all of them said they would buy a membership. I'm just assuming. They would buy a membership to this robotics lab. 50% of them are student, 25% of them are builders of sorts, the other 25% are entrepreneurs. That would bring us to 250,000 annual revenue in the first year that we launch. We're trying to raise 100,000 to build the facility, and then you get 10% of our business, which means you can make this much in the long term, right? A little bit of a story like that. And then of course, they're gonna be like, oh, that's cool. Now let's dig into the details. Like, how do you know it's gonna cost you 100,000 to build it? What if it turns out because it's gonna cost you 2 million? Now we're all screwed and out of money. But you wanna give them that like nice little story of like, here's why this makes sense in this city now. I think, yeah, you answer the main questions: who, what, where, why, when.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's the one people always miss: when, why now, right? A lot of times people like will come up with a business idea and it'll be the best idea in the world, and it's like nobody's ready for it. Like, there's actually a guy, he lives here in Vegas. He used to be the CTO, he used to be the chief architect for the Mac OS. He built the Mac back in San Francisco back in the day. And he joined a company right after, and they were building microchips for laptops. Well, guess what? Nobody had a laptop. So they didn't fucking sell. And the business shut down. But they built it, and now to this day, fucking, they use their technology, and they didn't make any money off of it. Does that mean it was a bad business? Absolutely not. Fucking geniuses, right? But it sucks. It was the wrong time. Some people miss the trend, right? Like they'll try to create a crypto coin, and it's like, all right, missed the bus, you know, maybe. Well, I don't know, maybe still. I own some crypto, so like maybe. Yeah.
No, this is good. I mean, I came here because I want to kind of be able to speak some of the language, right?
Yeah, totally.
Pitching the service, but yeah.
Yeah. I think the language is so important too. I see that a lot. Because we invest so early, I see a lot of founders, I want to say like 60% of the founders we talk to have no idea what the language is, and that automatically puts you at a disadvantage, which it sucks, because a lot of times it comes from a place of privilege, you know? You live in San Francisco, you've been surrounded by that prototype, you know, that, I'm struggling with words there. Okay, side note. I'm gonna share a personal story. I have an investment property, and this morning we found squatters in the house.
Oh no! Your mind is somewhere else.
I've been looking at they've been sending me videos and shit, and I'm like, fuck. But it's okay, we're good. But I also feel bad for them, it's cold out. Anyways, so I'm struggling. But we're good, they're out now, I think. Where were we? Yeah, thanks. Oh yeah, so they're always at a disadvantage. Like, have you guys ever been to San Francisco? Have you ever sat in a cafe in San Francisco? It's kind of annoying, actually. You'll sit there and the guy next to you is like, increase the ARR, and the other guy is like, the raise didn't go well, what do we do? And I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's like the same person everywhere. But they're at an advantage, right? If you live in Vegas and you don't speak that language and you don't come to these things and you don't hear, even like coming to the pitches, that I think there's one this Friday. Yeah, they have like people that get up and pitch their companies, and they do it just for practice. It's not like there are some real investors in the audience and stuff, but it's more so just to like get yourself out there. Once you get feedback from the investors, you start to learn, like, okay, what did they say? CAC, what is that? Cost of customer acquisition? That seems important. Churn, what is that? And you start to learn the language. It becomes so much easier for you to raise in the future.
We are actually looking for one more pitcher, so if you guys are interested, go ahead and come talk to me afterwards. Chris, I'm gonna put you on the spot, if that's okay, because I know you pitched for us last time. How was your experience with Level
Great.
Up?
Yeah, that was actually my first time pitching in public, but it was a very welcoming experience. Yeah, it wasn't hard at all. I've never pitched even like to myself. Like I just got up there and winged it. I don't know, but yeah, we did that. We did it on the fly. So
Good for you.
it's really casual. It's really fun. You get asked some good questions. Questions you're probably going to get asked again. So it's a good experience.
Yeah, so...
What time is it on Friday?
So Level Up, it's going to be from 6 to 8:30 on Friday. We'll have 6 to 7 is going to be more like a networking, so everyone's kind of chatting around. That's going to be pretty much our biggest event that we usually hold. And then we'll have 3 presenters typically, and then they'll pitch their company or product or idea. Some people will do like actual testing with their product, and then they'll display it on like site. And then we'll have a group of panelists that give feedback, and these are people that are venture capitalists, there's people that have been acquired, we have great panelists that come and give you feedback. Not only do they give feedback, but we also have our large audience. Usually our turnout, I believe last time we had about almost 100 people.
Wow.
So it's a really big thing, and it's a really great thing to just try and pitch yourself and put yourself out there just to be known. Like I said, like Chris has done an amazing job. He pitched it with his dad, and it was like this AI company, and it was really, really cool. It's gonna help the education system immensely. It's kind of like helping them do like homework and like, I don't wanna say anything wrong about your company either, but either way, it was a great product. If you guys,
Do you want to tell us?
Oh yeah, so we're helping educators analyze written work at volume. So the idea is like if you assign your students a multiple choice Scantron assignment, the odds that they're going to just guess through all of it are a lot higher, and you're not going to be able to actually tell if they learn the content. So the idea is if you can assign more written work and you're able to grade more of it, because the problem right now is that you can't grade all the written work if you assign it to your students. So if you're able to be able to assign written work, and you'll be able to get a better overview on whether or not your students are actually learning. And even if you are assigning a lot of written work and you don't have time to grade it all, then you have the opportunity to save a lot of time.
it's gonna help out teachers
Yeah.
immensely, yeah.
Exactly.
After hours.
I know.
Exactly, and that's time you're not getting paid, so you might as well save that time, right? So our ICP are going to be first ELA teachers, right, grading essays and other forms of written assignments. But the idea is that this is content agnostic, this is subject matter agnostic, and can be used by any educator in any subject, in any.
What was the acronym you use? ICP?
Ideal client profile.
Initial customer profile.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you're learning more of the verbiage that's used out. So Level Up is a really cool thing. If you guys want to come pitch, go ahead and just talk to me, email me. I'm on Slack. Yeah.
I'd definitely like to pitch this Friday.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, just go ahead and send me your information. We'll get your pitch deck. We'll gather some things, and we'll see if it works out.
Great.
Cool.
Thank you.
We'll see you there.
Will you be there? Are you one of the investors that shows up?
Yeah.
I think so. I think I'm doing this Friday.
Huh?
It's definitely a fun night. It's super casual too. No one's gonna like.
Do you guys have like an online
say anything
calendar of all
bad.
your events? Because I always feel like I find out like a week later.
Yeah. So we have if you go on Startup Vegas, let's see, it's startup.vegas/events/.
Okay.
You'll see everything
wow.
up till April. Like
Dude,
we're months
okay.
out, but we don't post notices until like the week of, because that's like, you know, entrepreneurs, everyone's
I
always
actually didn't know
traveling.
that, of course.
He could be in Vegas this month, next month he's gone somewhere else. But those are just gonna be the reminders, but on our website we're months out.
Okay, thanks.
So I got a question for you, Faye.
Oh, yeah.
All right. If somebody's at an early stage,
Right.
say they have a finished product, but they have not done, they haven't approached enough potential clients and gotten enough feedback. They're looking for $250,000. They're a $500 a month or $480 a month SAS, software as a service. $508 a year software as a service. Okay, what kind of return on investment are you looking at? What cut do you want for your 250K?
Yeah, I can give you the VC math. We want a lot.
1,000%.
That's why it's not always a great idea.
And the first board. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so it depends. So you said 0 revenue or 250,000? Sorry.
No, right now, 0 revenue.
0 revenue. We won't invest at all. The market is so competitive now that when I started 4 years ago, 60 to 70% of the companies we invested in were 0 revenue. Today, it's almost 0. Like, the only people that we invest in with 0 revenue is like, I have been a 3-time founder, I've exited 3 times, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking about. Borderline, I don't need your money. You know, we're like, please. That's like one of the only cases. But today it's really, really hard. I mean, it might change. Like, you know, a lot of things are happening in the microeconomic climate. So 2025, 2026 might be different. But as of right now, it's probably going to be very, very difficult to raise money unless you have a really strong case, like really strong founders, really strong founder market fit. Which, if you're not familiar with the term, founder market fit means like this is the right founder to build this product. If you don't have that, and you can't give that much conviction to the VCs, it's going to be hard. Now, if you do have a little bit of revenue, and I'm talking very little, like $1,000 a month in recurring revenue, which is like one client, right? One small client, you can start to raise. So for our fund, entry level is our accelerator program. So accelerator program, have you guys heard of those? YC, Techstars, whatever, all the different ones, Generator. So our accelerator program is very similar to a lot of the other ones. There's some different terms now, but generally they're going to give you anywhere from like 100 to 150K. They want to see just a little bit of traction, and they're going to take 7%.
Sorry, how? 70 or 7?
7.
7. Oh, but it's 7.
He just stands up, walks away. I mean, 7% is still a lot.
It's
I
a
think.
lot, yeah.
But what we do and what we've done in the past is we tell people like what they get out of the accelerator. So the value of an accelerator, and you have to do your research. Not every accelerator is built equal. So you want to ask them, people that have gone through your accelerator, how many of them have raised after? Because they'll start skirt around that topic, taking your 7%, nobody fucking raises after this program. Absolutely not. So like we have our data stacked, right? So we showcase, and our numbers are best in class, and in my opinion, they're still not that great. So 45% of the founders that go through our program raise over $1 million after 6 months. After that, it's like, okay, that might not have been attributed to our program, right? They probably just were doing their own thing afterwards. So 45%. So even if you end up getting money from an accelerator, a lot of people don't end up raising a lot after that. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of accelerator money. It's easy to raise the first 100K, right? So they take 7%, but it's on a safe. So if you guys are familiar with a safe, yeah.
No, I don't know what that is.
We can talk about that for hours. So if you guys start to become interested in investing, you can start to look up like pre-seed money, what that looks like. And there's 2 main vehicles. There's safes, which is the safest option, hence the name.
Yeah.
And then there's like convertible note, which a lot of people don't do, except in Vegas. There's actually data that came out a few weeks ago that said Vegas is the highest city with convertible notes, and I don't know, I don't understand why. I think it's just because we have old money, you know, like old school angels. But anyways, what that means is they convert at a different percentage. So just because it's 7% now doesn't mean it will be 7%. Depends how much you raise after.
Oh.
So a safe basically will give you the money. If you don't raise again, we don't own anything yet. It converts only into actual equity when you raise your next round. Whereas a convertible note, I actually don't know because I've never done a convertible note.
Gotcha.
But yeah, once you start getting ready to raise, generally you want to like start researching it a lot and figuring out what's the best like vehicle for you. Sometimes there's no choice. Sometimes the investor is like, I want a convertible note, and you're like, all right, fuck it. Like it's my only option.
Gotcha.
So what were we talking about before?
Accelerators.
On the note of accelerators, are there any of them that you recommend to stay away from?
Which chat after.
Okay.
What I would say is do your research. So, ask them the right questions in the meeting, but of course they can always lie. Like
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be straight up. So they can be like, yeah, a lot of our founders raise, and they have no data to prove it. They're just like, I think. Ask them how many investors they're going to introduce you to. So, there have been a lot of cases in Vegas where founders have gone to court with investors and asked for their money back because they were promised a certain number of meetings and they didn't get them. And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you told me you're going to introduce me to 10 investors and you got me 2, like, absolutely not.
Gotcha.
I'm going to get my money back and you're not getting any of my equity, you know?
Yeah.
So there's been cases like that. So ask around. Ask to talk to people that have gone through the program. Some of the best founders will ask that of us, and I'm always like, good on you, doing reference checks. Obviously, we give them our best to founders, so you're going to be like, oh, they introduced me to 50 investors. Well, we don't do that to everybody because, you know, some people are more ready and blah, 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 whatever. But you can ask them, be like, hey, from the people that went through the cohort with you, how many of them raised? And that will be a more honest answer than what the VC tells you.
Yeah.
And then go online, look them up, right? There's a lot of these like rating websites. I forget what they're called. I'm on one of them. I have a bad rating.
Oh.
No, I mean I have one bad rating.
Okay, that's not bad.
That person like went after me. I didn't invest in them. I'm like, what do you want? I said no.
They don't like that.
Yeah.
They don't like not being invested in. Rebel Venture Fund, right?
Uh-huh.
We just got a scathing email from someone who never even reaced out to us. It was bizarre. It was really bizarre.
Yeah.
It was
And-
a little scary.
And sometimes it's our fault. Like sometimes we get like ratings that are like, they never replied to my email, and I'm like, ooh shit, that slipped through the crack, or our CRM is kind of shitty. Like I'm sorry, you know.
It was probably that, like, because he said he reached out with Gust, and then we don't support Gust anymore.
Oh yeah, and it's on
And-
some website
Yeah.
that you used 5 years ago. and somebody
Exactly,
found it.
exactly. And he started getting
That always
political in the
happens.
email. It was really weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, sometimes we fuck up. Like, sometimes we're sleepy on calls, and the founder's like, she slept in my call. I'm like, I didn't sleep, I was sleepy. That was my fault.
Faye, what do you think about doing an accelerator even if you just want to bootstrap the rest of the way?
Oh, interesting question.
Yeah.
I've always thought about that. I actually think that's really cool. I think it depends. So there's a lot of different, there's the traditional accelerators, which I would call us a traditional accelerator. So traditional accelerators, what they'll do is they'll usually split the program into 2 sections. One is well, 3 sections. One is go-to-market business, like they'll teach you like how to do interviews with customers, how to get that validation. They'll teach you how to run the business, right? And then the second portion is usually how to build the technology, introduce you to CTOs and stuff, and they'll teach you how to get like beta customers for MVPs and all that shit. And then the last portion is usually fundraising, right? That fundraising portion sometimes is like half the program because it's like so heavy because you have to learn the language and you have to do all this stuff. So if you don't plan on raising ever again,
Well, maybe it's just like not raising at demo day.
oh yeah, a lot of people do that.
Okay, then that's,
Sometimes we tell our startups like you shouldn't raise right now.
Okay.
Like absolutely not. Like you're
So
gonna
it's
go
not-
out, do these meetings, and then you'll never get the opportunity to meet with that person again. So you should do it when the time is right. Yeah, if you're not planning on raising right then, that's okay. Chances are the accelerator won't let you in if they don't think you're gonna be ready in 4 months. But it does happen. But yeah, so there's a lot of different accelerators. There's some accelerators now that are so interesting. They will take equity and build your product for you. Yeah, so they'll take a lot though. They'll take like 10-15%. So it's sort of a venture studio except a little different. So they're usually dev shops,
Yeah.
like
Would
a
that
developer.
be if
I think I've heard of that,
CTO,
actually.
They were interested in the technology and the leadership. Like, what would make an accelerator want to jump into your product like that?
Not a traditional accelerator. So there's dev shops now that are running accelerators, and what they're saying is instead of paying us $50K to build your MVP, we'll do it for free, but you give us equity in your company. So they basically think that there's something interesting about the product, and they think we can have a good outcome, so they want in on the equity. A lot of those dev shops have closed down.
I can imagine. That sounds like a bad model.
I always thought it was very interesting, but I'm like, fuck you, if someone's going to build my product and take 10%, and then I'm never going to raise again, which puts me at a good, you know what I mean? Like, it would just be a regular business, and I can have a lifestyle business.
It's a great leverage.
I mean, unless, the only way I could see that working is if you wanted an in to the company or you were interested in employees, essentially, that you wanted the talent. Other than that, like, ideas are cheap.
Yeah. I don't know their business model. I've never done it, so yeah, it's interesting. There's also some accelerators that are very niche. So I know one that is like a 5G accelerator, and it's run by Verizon or something. And so, like, if you're a 5G company and you have Verizon as a customer, that's the best place to go because your first customer is going to be Verizon. Like, that's amazing. There's a lot of these corporate accelerators, and then there are accelerators that help you sell. So they'll take equity. They won't give you cash, but they'll give you a sales team. So there's all these interesting like models now. I don't know a lot about them. I've just heard of them. So you, again, do your research. Like, don't just sign up for anyone. But I know one that I heard about recently that they are like basically buddies with all these Fortune 500 executives. And so if you're an executive, like if you're selling enterprise software, you would sign up with them. They take 5%, I think it was 5% of your company, and they'll introduce you to 10 executives at Fortune 500 companies. And I'm like, that's interesting, depending on which executive and how it goes and stuff. But yeah, there are a lot of interesting options.
I gotta excuse myself for a meeting. So.
Oh, yeah. No worries. How are we doing on time? 15 minutes? Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, while we're on this little break, if you guys haven't, this is Jennifer. She is our community manager.
Hello.
Oh, you can see it. No.
What else you guys got?
What can we
This
talk
has been a
about?
very interesting conversation for sure. We've kind of jumped around everywhere. I think we're learning a lot of new stuff. Like I said, Faye is a wealth of knowledge. She has everything, all the answers. Do you guys have things for me as a fresh graduate?
Advice?
Yeah, I'll take advice.
Yeah.
So you're interested in tech, right? Fintech or?
A little bit of exploring everything. So I graduated as a marketing major.
Okay.
So I love that for me, for marketing specifically, I chose marketing because it's in everywhere.
Yeah.
In every business, like everything in the US is just business. So I could go into healthcare if I wanted to, I can go into entertainment. Right now I'm loving the tech and entrepreneurial space. I think that there's so many people with different backgrounds. Like we have 3D printing over here, we have over here, which is gonna be the romance and like kind of like Tinder startup space, which is really cool. The Love is Blind relationship. We have Chris with education. I think I just love hearing all the different backgrounds that everyone has. It's really cool knowing that all these people are coming to Vegas because I've been raised as a Vegas local practically. And I want to leave Vegas, but I think it's so cool hearing that all these people love Vegas because there's so much that's here. And I'm like, okay, I can learn to appreciate and love Vegas for what it is, but definitely for me, I'm like, I need to fly off somewhere else to go venture out, and then I'll come back to Vegas when I'm older, and I'll be like, okay, I can retire here. I can love this place too.
I can say that I moved here to Las Vegas 3 years ago, but as well I get connected with different investors here in Las Vegas, mostly in the gaming space, right? You know, like owner of casinos and different kind of companies. Something that's happening here in Las Vegas is that the startup environment is warming up, right? A lot, and mostly as well because there's a lot of interest on having a startup space here, right? As kind of already the local, let's say, business owners, like big business owners right here, are very interested in having an ecosystem here, right? So you can see that there are a lot of opportunities. Of course, they're not going to throw money right to your face if the idea right of the projects doesn't fit the numbers, right? But they're going to be open to talk, right? And there's an opportunity here in Las Vegas because in San Francisco, of course, you have a lot more, right? The environment is a lot more mature than here, right? But here, maybe you have the opportunity to sit with some billionaire, right? Or some very good fund that they're not going to open the doors to in San Francisco because they have a lot of filters, right? Until you get there. And here maybe you can have a conversation and learn, right, from that. And they're going to be a lot more understanding, right? Because they know that the ecosystem here is learning, right? So, yeah, that, and can I speak about other events here in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there is Tech Alley, for example, that you're speaking about, learning about investment and all the ecosystem. It's Tech Alley that is more. This afternoon is the first one in Henderson because they just created another one, by the West. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be.
Tech Alley is over in the Arts District, right? They have one in the
Sorry?
in the Arts District.
Yeah, that's the normal
yes,
one.
that's the normal one. Yeah, that's
Okay,
the.
yeah.
But it's in
So-
Henderson's this Saturday, you said?
Sorry.
Something about Henderson, what?
There's one new chapter, let's say, of the Cali that is going to happen 5 p.m. today in Henderson.
Oh,
Yeah.
today?
Yeah, it's
On a
today.
Wednesday?
Yes, and this weekend is I think on Saturday is another one. So yeah, that's the ecosystem, right? The Cali, there's a lot of people that as well, like.
That's interesting. Yeah, no,
Sure.
I'm trying to be there.
So.
Oh, I just realized I didn't answer your question.
Yeah.
Tangent there. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. The math question.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite question because nobody knows this about investors, and people always people will come and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm looking for venture capital investing. I'm starting a restaurant." I'm like, "That's not venture scale, right?" So here's how VCs make money. So when I say we are a $150 million fund, somebody once asked me if that was my money. I was like, "Sir, I fucking wish. What the hell?"
I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a VC making fucking 20% carry. So what VCs do is they go to investors, bigger investors, and they say, "Do you want to 10x your money? Do you want to 10x your money in
know, I haven't been
5,
yet."
10 years, whatever their model is, right?" So for us, it's 10 years because we invest early. Nobody's going to cash out,
Right.
From the time it gets from pre-seed to exit, it's probably 8, 10 years, right? So we say, okay, give us $10 million and we'll give you back $100 million, right? So that's the promise that we make to them. Do we keep on that promise? I don't know. But because they have to 10x their investment for their investors, people don't realize VCs have their own investors, right? So we have a fiduciary responsibility to make as much money as possible, which is why we can't invest in anything that interests us. Or even if it's a good idea, we can't, it has to be within the parameters of our approval from our investors. So our investors, for example, they said, "You guys are a B2B SaaS fund. You do not invest in 3D printing. You don't invest in video production. We just can't," because the only exception is like if we go and beg them because something is so big, but that's so rare and far between. So we tell them, "You give me $1 million, I'll turn it to 10 million. You give me 10 million, I'll turn it to 100 million. So because of that, we're looking for companies that can grow exponentially, right? So we're looking for companies that can be valued over $1 billion. Now we're getting to a lot of inflation, maybe 10 billion, right? Because otherwise we can't keep our promise to our investors. So what that means is, in a perfect world, we would just need every investment we make, so all 60 investments we make a year, 80 investments, we need all of them to 10x. What's the likelihood of that happening? Zero. Right? More than half of them are gonna fail in the first year. 90% are gonna fail in the first 5 years, whatever. So that means the few that make it, we're not looking for 10x. We're looking for 100, 200, 1000x. So we want to give you $1 million. We want your return a fuck ton of money. And so that's how the math works on the back end, right? So when a lot of people sometimes get really, really mad because they're like, "This is a good business." And I have to explain, I'm not saying this is a bad business at all. As a matter of fact, as a person, I would invest in this business for my own money because I can make a great return. It's great for me as an individual, but this isn't great for my investors who are institutional investors who have trillions and trillions of dollars in assets. They don't give a shit if you can 2x their investment. They could have just put that in the fucking stock market, right? And so VC is the highest risk, highest reward investment. And so we're looking for high risk, high reward investments, right? And so what that means is people get mad. They're like, "Well, that company shut down after a year." I'm like, "Yeah, but if they didn't, they had the potential to get me 200x return." right? Whereas certain types of businesses can't do that, right? I can't invest in real estate and do that. I can't invest in physical production because physical production is too slow in producing, right? And I have a CPG background. I used to work at P&G. Procter & Gamble, one of the biggest companies in the fucking world, not good for VC investments, right? And so there's only a very particular type of company that makes sense for it, and it's very far and few between. And even when you do make sense for it, the question is, do you want that lifestyle of having investors breathing down your back telling you, where's my 200, where's my 200x? What's 200x? 200,000%? I don't know. 200%. 200%. No, not 200%.
No, I
2,000%.
1,000%.
That's 20x.
That's 20x. Yeah, 20,000.
So it's
Okay.
like
1 million.
It's a lot of X's, guys.
like 20,000%.
20,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when people see those numbers, they're like, oh shit, look. But you made that promise to those VCs, right? And that's actually why a lot of people, after going through accelerator programs, quit. Because they're like, this isn't the lifestyle that I wanted. They didn't realize what they had signed up for going to the accelerator, which is fine. You decide to quit, whatever. It's not ideal for us if you quit, but as a person, I understand. But yeah, I hope that answers your question in terms of like what VCs are looking for.
So we have a couple more minutes now. Does anyone have any last questions that they can answer? If not, we also have our Slack channel. So like Fernando said, we have, people will post anything on our general channel. If you guys just go on startup.vegas and join our Slack, a lot of people are posting events that they have on their own as well, whether that's Tech Alley or other events that we hold. It's gonna be all on our Slack channel. And then if you guys want anything that's more in advance, like you said, we have it on startup.vegas/events. And then we're months out on there. We'll have some December things right now. We'll have things up until, I believe, like February or all the way until April actually. So that's awesome if you guys want a more advanced notice, but make sure that you guys are checking our LinkedIn or Slack specifically if there are any updated dates. Some things might get changed around, but right now they're pretty good for now.
Cool.
Thank you guys for the conversation.
So I gotta go over the math. So $250,000 investment at 200 multiplier means that the investors want $50 million return on their 250,000, and if they're getting only 7%, then that means you have to gross $714 million for them to get their $50 million back from their $250,000 investment.
Yeah, I mean, we're not looking for 200x. It's just saying that realistically, we can't look for companies that just 10x our investment, right?
Right.
So like right now, the best performing company in our portfolio is at 294x.
That's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What company?
Okay, well, they got lucky. It was, so we invested in them December 2019, and they help corporations go remote.
Wow.
Wow. We're geniuses, I know. We didn't fucking know. We thought it was a shitty investment. We got lucky, and that's like most people, right?
Yeah.
So literally, their biggest problem, once the program, it was around the time the program ended, right? The biggest problem they had was that they couldn't answer the phones fast enough. So they just needed people picking up phones and answering emails. It was crazy. So they hired an entire team in Philippines to answer the phones 24/7. So that's how much business they were getting, like overnight.
That's product market fit.
Yeah, I mean, not at the time, not December 2019, but fucking March 2020.
Right.
Yeah.
We got product market fit. But now they have a different problem, right? Now it's how do they sustain it? They have a lot of churn, people are dropping, people are going back into the office. So now what products can they have to support hybrid environment? So your problems change. It's not always the best thing, but after the demo day, they raised the most money we had ever seen to date. They raised $25 million from Andreessen Horowitz, which is one of the best venture funds in the world. They raised $25 million. They got $100K, or at the time, our investments were smaller. I think it was like $50K. They got $50K from us. And then they raised $25 million 4 months later.
That's crazy.
And I was like, that's fucking dope. Like, good for you. And the guy was Irish too. He's living in Ireland. He had to move to San Francisco it was a whole thing. But yeah, there are those like standout stories. But it's crazy. A lot of it's luck, right? Like he didn't even know. He had been in the space for 3 years already, barely making any progress. But he was a great guy, super hardworking. We thought the business was interesting. We thought it was going to be one of those slow businesses, like over time people will go remote, and then
Just to speed up.
lucked out.
I came to my company just for the start for IPO. I'm like, I'm going for the IPO.
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
is
yeah.
Like, this is money. I know people inside. Oh, this is gonna be perfect. When COVID hit, I'm like, damn, there goes the IPO. But we do fintech automation, payment automation. When our customers do well,
Yeah.
we do well.
So now you guys are on
We got 2 rounds of funding. Yeah, Twitch was, their numbers went crazy because everyone was at home streaming. Or kids wanted Roblox, their numbers were going crazy. So, our numbers. Yeah.
Are you guys like competitive with like Stripe?
Stripe's more, okay, like Roblox, they handle the pay-ins for Stripe. We handle the local payouts for Stripe.
Oh, the payouts for the
So we're
Twitch
payouts only.
streamers.
Yes,
Okay.
we're payouts only.
Cool.
Yeah, same thing like for
I love
for
that.
TensorWave. There's
Yeah.
another company called Otzi that's like a travel app, and we definitely want their business too because they're actually like a startup in business. Cool
Oh.
stuff. I met them at a startup, like it's called. I want to connect you with this company called Democratize. They do events just like this, like in San Francisco. This guy's name is Reg. He's connected with all these cool companies and investors. Always investors. It's very similar when I come here.
Yeah,
so I would
yeah.
love, if not, if you can't like collab together, maybe make new friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you for everyone's time. We still have Jimmy John's. I'll move the laptop afterwards, but we feel free to stick around. We're gonna be here till 4. I loved everyone's conversations. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love your card, man. That's beautiful. Let's definitely connect, man. I love your story, man. Yeah.